Nod y Cyfarfod, the aim of the meeting today, we will be looking at some updates in some documentation. Then we'll have a look at professional learning opportunities, Welsh sabbatical opportunities, and some fantastic resources and planning and recorded professional learning by some of our sabbatical practitioners. Then we'll be having a look at Cydlynwyr reading scheme opportunity. I'm sure some of you on the call have already done that project with Jane Vinnacombe. Jane sadly can't be with us today, so she sends her apologies. But Jane is the lady to talk to in more detail about that. We'll learn more about that later. Then we have a partner school update. And they're Dewch I Weld, their come and see events happening across the region. Followed by the SWAC, the School Workforce Annual Census, and Language Methodology Audits. And then we've got two very special guests. Diolch yn fawr iawn in advance I Laura Palmer o Ysgol Gynradd Glyngair a Carol Grist o Ysgol Gynradd Green Hill, both schools in Caerphilly. And Laura from Glyngair is going to be sharing how they're developing Welsh oracy in school and the use of incidental Welsh. And bydd Carol will be sharing their approach to planning and how they're approaching themes in school, along with sharing how they're developing the Cydlynwyr reading screen project hefyd. So diolch yn fawr iawn, ladies, and croeso cynnes I chi. Then we'll have a Cymraeg campus update and dathliadau celebrations. And then finally, as always, we'll finish off with an opportunity to ask any questions or have any discussions about anything that you wish to discuss. And we won't record that part of the session. So, yeah, as always. Okay, so we're going to start with an update in documentation.
Here we go.
So really, just to draw your attention to this really useful document that was created over the summer term. So just to give some context, during the summer term, a number of marketplace sessions took place across the region. And really, it was an opportunity for each team to showcase their provision and what PL is on offer in a little bit more detail. So yourselves or some of your colleagues may have attended these sessions. But each team then created a booklet which includes everything. So, for example, in our Cymraeg booklet here, all of our provision is listed, our PL opportunities, guidance, planning, resources, and so on. So really, it's a bit of a one-stop shop for all things Cymraeg. Some of you may have already seen or have a copy of this handout. If you haven't, the link is there, and you know, it's something really handy to have printed off and something to refer to when you've got colleagues or your senior management team asking you questions about Cymraeg and what PL is on offer. It's all in one place. As you know, the PL brochure, which is also in these slides, is just a massive, it's very big. And you have to search for different teams, but this is just all Cymraeg. So really just to draw your attention to that document if you haven't already seen it. And also really good if there are any cluster leads on the call, which I know there are, something that you could take to cluster leads and to support your professional discussion at cluster level, and to ensure consistency and so on in your approaches and in what resources and planning you're using, etc. Also, you know, we've had this in the previous meeting, in the summer term meeting, and prior to that as well, but really it's just a reminder, because I know many of you now around this time of year will be or have monitoring activities planned, such as listening to learners, learning walks, and so on. So really it's just a reminder that this document as well is really useful. Everything you need to know about evaluating Welsh language provision, and hopefully a really helpful visual guide to support you in your monitoring activities. So, you know, as you can see there, I can't read the screen. I was too small on my screen, but there are some pointers there for, you know, things you're looking for when you are doing a learning walk in the learning environment, visible Welsh, and lots of those elements obviously tie in very nicely with your Cymraeg campus targets. And then your audible Welsh, when you're listening to learners, and the use of incidental Welsh around the school. You know, there's just a bit of a success criteria there to guide and support you. And again, also to support that professional discussion with your colleagues in school and at cluster level. I think I popped the link there on the previous slide to that, yes. Okay, so everything we've popped the links to, they're all in the Welsh Leads folder within the team space. And again, we have already shared these, but like I said, I'm mindful that we have got some new Welsh Leads in the meeting today. So really just a reminder, and for those of you that are new, to know what resources are available to you. So we have some listening to learners templates here, which croeso for you to use and adapt them. You know, they're not set in stone, as with everything, but you know, if you are planning on listening to learners this term and beyond, then you may find these documents really handy. And like I said, you can use and adapt them to suit your learners, but hopefully that is something that you will find useful. Oh, yes, okay. I just wanted to say on this slide here, on this document, there are 2 online sessions planned for later in the term, talking about this document and the evaluation of Cymraeg in primary school settings. So more details on dates later. And even though that's what I wanted to say, it's advertised for senior leaders. Croeso for you as Welsh Leads, and some of you may be senior leaders as well, but croeso for you to attend that session along with your senior leaders or on your own, and because, you know, ultimately you're the ones that are going to be doing this activity. So croeso for you to join those sessions, and we'll have a look at those dates a bit later. Right, this is, as it says, draft. So this really is a one-stop shop, or it will be, for all things amser gorffennol, the past tense. So, you know, if you're looking to develop elements of the past tense in school, then what we've done is started to put together a PowerPoint of resources and slides that are just focused on past tense language patterns. The slides themselves are progressive. And as you can see, I've just kind of put a few pictures on there. So there are sentence builders within the unit. Then there are resources, exemplar planning, and lots of activities and games, all in one place, all around the past tense. Excuse me, all around the past tense, and welcome for you to trial and use and adapt this. Now, I was a little bit unsure whether to share this today because it is still in draft form, and when you open it, it might look quite overwhelming because there are lots of slides and there are bits of guidance in there. I am planning to do a voiceover recording for this, okay, just to give it some context. So once I have done that, I'll pop that in the team space. But in the meantime, you know, I wanted to share it today because it's timely, isn't it? We've just returned from the summer holidays, and many of you are going to be discussing the past tense, what you did in the holidays. So I'm sharing it today. Croeso for you to have a look, use, adapt, take what you want from it. But just know that it's a draft, so some things are incomplete and some things you might think, oh gosh, what's this? Don't worry, just pick and choose, you know, what you think will benefit your learners. And I would, yes, Rhian.
I just wanted to interrupt to say that I've been fortunate to have a sneak peeky look at this already, and it's brilliant. I would find that really useful. So yes, I would just like to reiterate what Sian said. Have a little nosy at it. It's worth it. So da iawn, Sian.
Oh, diolch yn fawr. And I would welcome any feedback as usual. So, you know, please feel free to provide some feedback, what's working well, if something isn't clear, if you need more clarity on something, let me know and I'll ensure I amend that then and include it in the recording. So the link is there, croeso for you to have a look. And we're also developing a similar, I don't want to call it a unit because it's not so much a unit of work, more of a resource for third person language patterns as well. Because past tense language patterns and third person, they are language patterns that are high frequency, they're high value, and that we can use in regularly throughout the year. So we will keep you posted on the third person presentation hefyd. Okay, but for now, as it's very timely, hopefully some of you will benefit from having a look at that this term. Okie doke, where are we? So on to PL opportunities for the term and beyond, I believe. So apologies because Jane was going to do these slides today. So I'm going to just talk you through the language courses, first of all, which are on offer. So these go beyond the autumn term, as you can see. So we've got barod, un, dau and tri, and ymlaen â ni, un, dau and tri. Language for beginners, barod un, as I'm sure most of you are aware by now, and they are progressive, so you can start at barod un and do them all up to ymlaen â ni 3, or as it says, you can access different courses at the point of need, okay, so you don't need to do them systematically. The dates obviously and the booking links for each of those courses are there. And then on the following slides, Jane's just popped in an overview of each course then. So, excuse me, all of these can be found in the PL brochure, which is here. And at the moment, Welsh courses start on Tudalen 30. They start on page 30. So just a brief overview of each course. So as you can see, barod un, you know, greeting people and Gymraeg, name, age, simple questions, the use of prepositions and commands and instructions and Gymraeg. And then as we move on to barod dau, we bring in elements of the past tense and amser, time, and a wider range of questions. And barod 3 then goes on to talking about what is your favourite and use of the third person and so on. So I thought we'd leave those slides in just so you can see how those courses develop, how they progress in the language. But like I said, that all of that information can also be found in the PL brochure. Yeah, so I'm just going to skip through these. You can see as we get to ymlaen â ni 3, then there is third person with negative sentence patterns there. So you can see how it progresses from barod un to ymlaen â ni 3. Yeah. And then just a reminder of the Learn Welsh website, Dysgu Cymraeg. I know lots of people this time of year have registered and have begun courses. Remember that they're free and there is something for everybody. Mrs. Woolley, would you like to rhannu?
It's just an exciting opportunity. I've signed up for my first Learn Welsh course. I started last Thursday and I can highly recommend just to brush up on my skills. So yeah, it's just a really useful tool really for staff. If you've got any members of staff who are coming to you and want to improve and want to do that little bit more, all these courses and more are there at your fingertips. Some of the courses are online, some of the courses are for 10 hours, some courses are a weekly commitment like I've chosen to do on a Thursday evening. Some courses are day courses, some courses are for management, some courses are for TAs, some courses are for teachers. So there's a course there to suit everybody. So it really is worth having a little look at if anybody needs that professional development in your school.
Diolch yn fawr, Rhian, ardderchog. And I think
I should get commissioned, shouldn't I?
Yes, absolutely. That's sort of thing. Diolch, I think I'm going to hand over Rhian and you're going to take us through some of the other PL opportunities for the remainder of the term and beyond. Diolch yn fawr.
So we've got lots of PL, like Sian mentioned previously, all of these next slides now There are further details available in the PL brochure, but what we've tried to do is to put them on individual slides for you to give you a little bit more information. And what we've also done is put the direct booking link on the slides for you, so that after the meeting, if you want to go directly to that slide, you'll be able to book on straight away. So the first course we just wanted to talk to you about is, of course, these courses for the Welsh Leads Network meetings. Just to let you know, we've got the dates there for our future courses for you, so that you can join us again in the morning sessions. They're usually the second Tuesday of each term, 9:30 till 11 o'clock every morning. And like Sian mentioned, you know that we record them. So if you can't join us live, you can always catch up with the recording afterwards, and we always pop the links to the meeting in the Teamspace chat. So like today, it's the same format. We try to keep you up to date with all the information that we've got. We invite guest speakers to come and share with you, and I think is very valuable at the end is the question and answer session. Okay, diolch. Sian, sleid nesaf, os gwelwch yn dda? Okay, very exciting. Due to popular demand, we've put back in again, we've got the Aura CPL, the planning and developing progressive Welsh speaking skills from year 3 to year 6. So that will be taking place. The course code, as you can see, is E1052. It will be running in the autumn term and it will be running in the spring term. And you can see there that both links are there if you want to book onto that. You will develop, it's a great course. I was fortunate to attend it because Sian and Sioned will be running the course. It will give you lots of ideas for Oracy games, Oracy strategies, using EAS tools, using Gianfranco Conti strategies. There's variety, there's something there for everyone to take away, to take back, to share with staff and to use in your classrooms. Slide nesaf, os gwelwch yn dda. Okay, the next one, we've got our reading. Jane and I will be doing a reading day again. It's back again due to popular demand. We'll be showing you how you can use reading skills, the learners' reading skills, to develop, to support their oracy skills. So again, we'll be giving you more activities, games, tools that you can take back to the class through reading to support the oracy, that you'll be able to take home and use straight away. So again, the course code 1051 and 2 dates again, autumn and spring term. Okay. Oh, I'll hand over to Sian for this one.
Oh, yeah, dim problem, dim ots. Yes, so sabbatical, Rhwydwaith Sabothol, sabbatical network, and we're hoping to do these termly now. So we had a really successful network in Tymor yr Haf. So these are for past sabbatical graduates returning to school, and an opportunity to, you know, again, very informal, but a really rich opportunity to come together to share good practice, ymarfer siarad Cymraeg with your colleagues, network, and during the summer term we had 5 fantastic Welsh sabbatical practitioners sharing, presenting how they're developing Welsh in their own schools, and it was a really inspirational afternoon. We have recorded those sessions, so later on in the presentation they are in the Teamspace, but just to draw your attention to them really, and we'll talk more about that later. But yes, this term's Rhwydwaith is on the 28th of November, in Tredomen. Again, it's in the PL brochure, but 1 till 3:30. And so far we have got 3 sabbatical practitioners confirmed who will be sharing and presenting how they're developing Welsh within their own schools. So please rhannwch, share with any sabbatical practitioners within your schools and get booked on. Diolch yn fawr.
Okay, Cymraeg Campus. I get lots of requests from school for support. We've got most of our schools now are on the Silver Award. So we've got our drop-in. We've decided to do it for the autumn term and the spring term to meet the demand. So if you've got any questions, if you're on the Arian, if you're on the Efydd, the Bronze, please feel free to come along because it will help you as well. But if you've got any questions, if you want to come and drop in between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. You can come for 1:30, or you can come for 2:45. Whenever you can escape from the class, please drop in. I'll be online. I'll be ready and waiting to answer any questions, to offer any support. If it's your self-evaluation form, if you're not sure if you're ready, if you need any help with any evidence, then please call in and I'll be there to help you. So again, we've got both of the links on the screen there if you want to register. If you haven't registered and it comes to the day and you're available, please don't worry if you haven't pre-registered, you can still come along and drop in. I look forward to seeing you there. Okay, Welsh cluster leads. So I've been very fortunate, Sian and I attend these courses to support and to be part of the Welsh cluster leads. So very similar to the sabbatical course that Sian mentioned previously. This is a great opportunity. If you're a Welsh cluster lead, this is an opportunity for you to meet with other Welsh cluster leads, to discuss with your colleagues, to discuss with us what you're doing, to discuss your action plans, to find out about what information you should be disseminating to your clusters. So we've got designated meetings, one in each term, to give you the opportunity to come together, like I said, to ask any questions, to work together, to make sure that we're all giving the same messages, to make sure we're all up to date. So we've got one in the autumn term on the 16th, we've got one in February, and we've got one in May. So we've got the links there. Again, like Sian said, all these meetings so far, all these PLs so far are going to be in Tredomin unless it states otherwise in the PL brochure. But they'll be upstairs on the top floor. So there, the Welsh cluster leads. Diolch, Sian. Okay, this is a course that Ellen is running for SLT, giving them support on how to plan, how to monitor, how to evaluate standards of provision in their schools. So again, we've got, Ellen is running the course twice. We've got it in October and in January. Sian.
Diolch, Rhian. This is the PL session that I was referring to when we were looking at the evaluation of Welsh document. Excuse me. So as Welsh leads, you know, if you are able to attend one of those sessions, they're the same session running twice, so no need to attend both. But yes, that will just go into more detail about, you know, that strategic evaluation of Welsh, and monitoring, and again, an opportunity for you to ask any questions around evaluating standards and Gymraeg, especially if you are new to the role. And like I said, croeso for you to attend alone or with your head teacher or deputy head teacher. Come along to that, especially if Gymraeg is on your SDP, on your school development plan, or if you are expecting an ESTIN inspection, then this will be really useful for you to attend. They are both online, morning sessions, I believe, so something like 9:15 till 12:15. So yes, croeso mawr for you to attend that. I just wanted to highlight that because even though it says senior leaders, then you as Welsh leads are more than welcome to come along to those sessions. Diolch, Rhian.
Okay, moving on to PS1 or PS2. I'm sure lots of you are aware, but if you have any new members of staff in PS1 or PS2, we will be doing a foundation workshop for learning approaches and resources for those year groups. So we'll be looking at Mr. Enfys, looking at Elyndysin, looking at YOLO, looking at oracy games, strategies, drilling. So we've got this course, like Sian said, this will be repeated. It's the same course, so you can choose whether you want to come along, want to send your staff along in the autumn term or the spring term. And the link is there for you to sign up for that from the PL brochure. So we hope to see lots.
Mrs. Woolley, is really fun. It's a practical course, isn't it? And
it will
the resources that you've created for Mr. Enfys and YOLO, all of them are just fantastic, and we've had brilliant feedback. So yeah, just come along and llawer o hwyl, lots of fun.
We did an online course last year, and I know lots of people attended that. So this will be a face-to-face course, and we'll be doing lots of the activities in person, and we'll be able to go through it in a little bit more depth that you're not always able to do online. So yeah, diolch Sian.
Ardderchog, croeso.
Okay, so just like the reading and the oracy courses that I mentioned previously, this is the writing strategy courses. Again, all of these courses, our main drive in our PL this year is to develop oracy with your learners. So this is how you can develop your oracy, but with writing strategies and activities, short burst writing activities really, that will support developing those oracy skills with your learners. So the course, again, is repeated, so you don't need to come to both. It's one or the other, and it's in the autumn term and the spring term for you there. And it's only a half a day session, that one. Probably more appropriate for the older year 3 to year 6 year groups. Diolch, Sian.
Yeah, cytuno, croeso. So looking at sabbatical opportunities for 24-25, and these two courses are already full. So diolch yn fawr iawn for everybody who expressed an interest, and for those of you that have got a place on one of these courses, gyffroes iawn. So obviously the autumn term, 2-term course is underway. And then we've got the summer term sabbatical in the summer term. So if any spaces become available on that summer term course, then I will keep you updated in the team space. However, expressions of interest are open for autumn term 2025 and 2026. So I know some of you have already contacted me again with your expressions of interest, but please do get in touch if you have members of staff in school that are interested in either of these courses. Now, apologies to be so vague, but we don't know which courses are going to be on offer year from year. Okay, it all depends on funding from Welsh Government. But it's very likely that these two courses will run again from 2025, okay? Again, as and when we receive messages from Welsh Government, I will share those with you. But if we just go off the premise at the moment that there's likely to be a 2-term course and a 1-term summer course, and hopefully something again for teaching assistants, I will keep you updated. But please, any expressions of interest, email me and I shall place your name on the register and contact you as and when that information becomes available to us. Iawn. So that's all we've got to say about that for now. And as I referred to earlier, Welsh sabbatical practitioner resources, I have already placed these in the team space earlier in the year, but I know things get lost in that feed sometimes. So I just wanted to highlight these fantastic recorded professional learning sessions. These are from the sabbatical network that took place in the summer term. We had these brilliant 5 practitioners presenting, as I said, how they're developing Cymraeg in their own schools. And you can see there's a range of approaches. We're looking at planning and resources in blwyddyn 1 from Henllys. Diolch yn fawr, Karen, an absolutely fantastic resource. So if you're in blwyddyn 1, or indeed share with your teachers in school, it's a pick up and ready to go unit of work and a goedwig in the woods. And it follows the same format as Mr. Renvis planning and resources. And also you can use that as a template and change the theme. But if you haven't done so already, have a little look. It's absolutely bendigedig. Then Langstone Primary, talking about the use of incidental Welsh and how Paula, diolch Paula, has trained staff and inspired staff in school, and how they've embedded Welsh across the school really successfully. And Llancayak Junior, Simon can't be here today, but he talks there about his approach, their approach of how they've developed Cymraeg ar draws y curriculum. And then St Mary's, Ysgol St Mary's in Carsnewydd, Susie Evans, and I know many of you are using this, these units of work. Cymraeg bob dydd, Welsh every day, a fantastic progressive resource looking at developing Cymraeg bob dydd across the school. And that is having a really positive impact in many schools across the region. Diolch, Susie. And then Johnny Small in Goetrewawr in Monmouthshire talks about how they've developed group guided reading, and he's created a fantastic website with a range, a variety of sentence builders. So there's a wealth of resources there and planning. And it's all accessible to you. So those recordings there, they're no longer than half an hour each. And then if you wish to see the slides to accompany those, then I've popped the link there for you. But I would certainly, have a little look, because there's lots of inspiration and lots of ideas to Magpie from these wonderful practitioners. Diolch yn fawr iawn eto, if any of you were on the call. So yeah, just wanted to highlight and draw your attention to those. Nessa o tric a chlic.
Okay. Okay, so Jane has a very, very exciting opportunity that she would like us to share. For the last 2 years, Jane has been working with pilot schools who've applied for funding from the EAS to pilot the Tric a Chlic programme. And we're very lucky. Ariane, the lady who wrote the original Tric a Chlic programme for Welsh medium schools, has adapted the programme for English medium schools. It's a phonic programme that it's been very successful in Welsh medium schools, and to be honest, all the feedback from all our pilot schools so far has been fantastic. So Jane would like to offer it out again. She's looking for schools to take part for this academic year. So I'll just read the slides. I'll just read parts of it. Would you like to be part? You get a 1-day free training PL session with Jane and with Ariane in Tredomen. You will get all the resources that you need to go back to your schools and deliver the scheme and the lessons. Also become part of the working team, so you'll have contact with the other schools that you will meet on the training day. You'll have regular meetings, you'll have ongoing support from Jane throughout the year, and Jane will ask you to complete a case study then to share with other schools in future. So it's a fantastic opportunity. If I was in school at the moment, I would be fighting for a place on this course. It's very exciting. And like I said, the resources are excellent. It gives you the flashcards, it gives you the books, it gives you everything that you need to get started. And as I mentioned, the feedback has been so positive. I know on the very first year, one school started doing it in year 1. The second year, then they put it into year 1 and year 2. And this year now they're going into their 3rd year of doing it, and they're putting it into year 1, year 2 and year 3. So it's having great results, working really well alongside. I know lots of people are nervous about English phonics, but all our schools are feeding back to us that it works. In addition, it works alongside the English phonics. Introducing the Welsh phonics has been really beneficial at the same time. So if you want any more information about the Tric a Chlic, or if you want to go ahead and and send Jane your expression of interest, all the details are on the slide there from Jane. The closing date, I believe, is Friday, the 18th of October. The training then will take place on the 3rd of December. It says on the slide venue to be confirmed, but I'm certain it'll be in Tredomen. So yeah, any questions, please contact Jane or myself and we'll be able to help you. I know on the next slide, Jane has included a nice example for you to just see of a school using Tric a Chlic with one of their, I believe it's year 1 sessions.
Yeah, let me see if the sound works on this. And Carol Grist from Ysgol Green Hill, who's on the call today and presenting a bit later, has also been using the Tric a Chlic scheme. So she's going to talk a little bit about her experience as well.
Oh,
let's have a look if this works. Have you got? Ydych chi'n gallu clywed?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, and that gives you, diolch yn fawr iawn to that wonderful teacher. Apologies, I'm not sure pa ysgol without Jane's notes. So we ddim yn cofio, I don't remember, but diolch yn fawr iawn. That's a lovely example there of Tricachlic in action. And all of that target language she's using, obviously you have training for that, and it's all noted in the scheme. So syllu ar y sêr is look at the stars. But yes, the children really do, you know, like Crean said, the feedback has been fantastic. And we have another video, which we're not going to have a look at today. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol, Ysgol Gynradd Green Hill. It's quite a long video, it's fantastic, but we're going to leave that there for you to have a little look at in your own time. And again, just going through the process of the trick, introducing a book using the Tricachlic reading scheme. So diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol. I won't embarrass you either and play it, so diolch yn fawr iawn in advance. But please do have a little look at that in your own time, or as and when you start trialling Tricachlic resources.
You can also see how lovely the resources are that are all included. If you're fortunate to get a place in the pilot, all those books and those flashcards will all be included, and they're just delightful. So yeah, Jane's just put a slide on here, just some of the feedback. Children were excited that they had new sounds to learn, especially when they realised that they could sound most of the initial sounds already, boosted their confidence. There's a script which is easy to follow, very similar to how Read Write Ink works, so it's been easy to implement. You can see that children's confidence has really grown. It's learning the Welsh sounds as well as the English sounds has helped a lot of children with their English reading as well. So the children's overall reading confidence has improved, and they've transferred their skills then into their discrete or into their Welsh lessons across the curriculum, for example, in Elindysyn. So really positive, very exciting opportunity for schools. Diolch, Sian.
Croeso, diolch I ti.
Okay, so next we're going to move on. We're going to just let you know, update you on our partner schools. As I'm sure you were aware, we have partner schools which support us. They do wonderful PL opportunities, Dewch I Weld, bespoke visits. So we're very lucky to have these schools working alongside us. This year we've got 5 schools. You'll notice that these 5 schools are from the same schools that we had last year because it's a 2-year cycle. So we've got Ellie, I think I saw Ellie's name pop up earlier. Ellie's here. Ellie from the Gare is one of our partner schools. We've got Molly in Hydref. We've got Simon in Llancaiach. We've got Laura in Glengair, who, as Sian mentioned, she's going to do a little chat. She's got a little presentation to share later on. And we've got Jane in St Mary's in Chepstow. We will have a 6th school joining us shortly, but at present, the interviews are currently being held, the applications, schools have made their applications, and we're in the process of carrying out school visits for the 6th school to be appointed. So amser cyffrous iawn, very exciting. Okay, so the next slide, as I mentioned, we're very lucky. Part of their role, all our partner schools kindly host a Dewch I Weld, a come and see session. So what we've done on the next few slides for you, all of these sessions are in the PL brochure, but what we wanted to do is give you just a little bit more information and make it even easier for you to apply. So all the arrangements are there of parking, the times, the links to join, and most importantly, the focus of the session shows you what the different schools will be offering for you to see when you go there. So I know Hydref do a lot with the live teaching, Glengair do a lot. They've got a lot on their assessment. They've got their amazing floor books. I know that GARE do have an outstanding learning environment, I'm just naming a few of the things that they do. So please have a little look, browse through the slides, and I can't recommend enough. It's great for you to go and see live classroom practice, to see their learning environments firsthand. So very enjoyable for us, isn't it, Jane? Isn't it, Sian? We thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Always a privilege.
Very much.
Anhygoel. And St Mary's, they are on board. We're just waiting for further details. And as they come in, I'm actually visiting St Mary's tomorrow, Boridar, Jane, if you're on the call. And further details of their sessions will be shared once they become available. So, and also, you know, they are all in the PL brochure hefyd. But as Rhian said, I think sometimes it's just good to give a bit of context and give you a bit more clarity in these meetings, because, as I mentioned, the PL brochure can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So hopefully just a brief overview for you there of what's on offer.
And they have lovely biscuits as well, all these schools. They have lovely tea, coffee, biscuits and treats. So,
so very lucky. Okay, so on to language and methodology audits, the SWAC. It's hard to believe that it's this time of year again. So the school workforce annual census. The census day is the 5th of November, but it needs to be submitted then by the 18th of December. So you've got plenty of time, but I really would encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to complete the SWAC as soon as possible, because, as you know, that data will help to inform your professional learning needs within the school. So in the Welsh Leads folder, there's a folder here, the SWAC folder. Within that folder, there's a really handy video talking you through some guidance on how to complete the SWAC. So if you're new to completing this, have a little look at the video within the folder, which will give you some guidance. And there's also a Word document in the folder here that you can use for staff to complete. So it's really important that each member of staff and all staff in school complete it themselves, because obviously that gives you a really clear picture then of where staff are. I think going back many years, I think it was an admin task for the school secretary to complete. And, you know, lots of staff weren't aware that this was in existence. But really, you know, maybe for 10-15 minutes in a staff meeting, that you all do it together, fill in the form, and then that is handed to your head teacher or your school secretary, and they submit the data. Okay, so everything you need, like I said, is in this folder here. We use the competency framework. Okay, so I won't open it now because I think it'll make my screen go funny, but the links are here. So you've got the competency framework to have a look at where staff feel they are on that framework, and then it's very simple to fill out the form. You know, it's just a W2 or a W3 or so on. Yeah. If anyone does encounter any problems or wants some more support to complete that, then please get in touch. But like I said, have a little look in that folder, and hopefully all the guidance you need is there. Rhian.
I just wanted to add that this is a really useful tool if you're a Welsh lead, because it identifies exactly what level each of your members of staff are. So if you wanted to develop their Welsh skills, it will then show you year on year the progress that they're making. So it is really handy to send off for the SWAC, but also to have for you in school. And when we mentioned the Barod and the Ymlaen â Ni courses, whatever level they identify on the SWAC, then they can go in. The Barod courses are linked to that, and also the online courses. So whatever level you identify on the SWAC, like I've done, you can go straight in then to the evening class or the online class at that level, so that you're not really doing things that are too easy or too hard. Staff, you know, we're not wasting their own personal time if they're doing it in their own time. It's very succinct. So I just wanted to add that. Diolch, Sian.
Yeah, diolch. Defnyddiol iawn. And that's why this is very timely, because it will just give you that overview of who needs what training, and you can just book then either through us on the Barod courses or through the Learn Welsh website. We'd remember they're all free hefyd, or you can do a bit of both, a balance of both. Yeah, but any questions, or if anyone wants a bit more guidance with that, please croeso off you to get in touch.
Yeah.
Okay, right, iawn. On to the exciting parts now. Diolch yn fawr. I'm going to hand over to Rhian because this is a school you're working closely with, Ysgol Gynradd Glyngauer.
Well, I'm only going to speak very briefly, just to cyflwyno, just to introduce that Laura's going to be sharing her slides for the next few minutes with you. Laura, as you will have seen in the previous slides on the partner school, Laura works at Glyngauer, and they're one of our partner schools. It's their second year now. They're just starting their second year as a partner school. Laura is the Welsh lead there, and she's also the dosbarth derbyn teacher as well. And Laura is just going to tell you all about their wonderful, she's had lots of feedback from the Dewch Welsh. Lots of people are interested in how they develop their oracy. Laura, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, we've had a bit of trouble this morning.
I thought you were. I could see you were in and out and in and out. Are you okay, popeth yn iawn?
I think we're there now.
Oh, da iawn, Laura. Just
diolch.
wait slide nesa, okay, Laura, and I'll change the slides for you. So I'll go on to this one and then just say nesa, and I'll move them along.
Diolch yn fawr. So we just wanted to give you a quick overview of when we started with our Welsh. So the children were really sort of, every time they go into the class, you just see the shoulders drooping. They'd be like, oh my goodness, we've got to do Welsh again. And it was a real negative sort of lessons and things for them. So we tried our best then to try and promote the Welsh. We introduced our Brawddeg of the Week, Welsh assemblies, the Cyfarfod, to try and build our Welsh ethos and everything within the school. Slide nesaf, sgwelwch yn dda. So we wanted then to find a way of developing the oracy and develop the confidence of all our children across the school from reception to year 6. So we divide 8 questions that we ask them from reception to year 6, the same 8 questions, and they link then to our phrases of the week. So on the next slide, sgwelwch yn dda, these are our 8 questions. Underneath each one then, they're numbers which are given as points. So question review is sut wyt ti, so how are you? If they just give me a one-word answer, if they just say hapus or trist, they would get 1 point. If they said the sentence pattern, so dwi'n hapus, a ti, they would get their 2 points. We're hoping then by the end of, at the end of year 6, that they would get the 20 points, which is available to them. And then they would move on to the next set of 8 questions. And we're just finding that the children are really bought into this. Their confidence to ask questions, answer questions, both inside and outside of the classroom has greatly improved. And because they have a copy of this then in their books, and they can just see their progress as well as us. So slide nesaf, os gwelwch yn dda, Sian. This then is sort of a breakdown of the questions, just closer for you to be able to see. So exactly the same as question 3, ble wyt ti'n byw, where do you live? If they just say Cascade, they get 1 point. Between byw and Cascade, they get 2. And if they extend it a little bit, so with gyda or mewn, it doesn't have to be both, they would then get their 3 points. So they can see how to develop them, how they're building on them. It's going back to the stars that we used to have years ago, 1 star, 2 stars, 5 stars. But it's just giving them an insight into how we're assessing and what we're asking them for. Especially higher up the school, they really bought into it, and they do enjoy it. Slide nesaf, sgwelwch yn dda. This one goes into their books from year 3 to year 6. We ask them then to self-assess. So they're asked the question by the class teacher, but then they have this copy in front of them that gets stuck in the front of their Welsh books. They colour then to say how they feel they've answered the questions and whether they can improve, and they know in their obviously lessons, they have heddiw lessons, their writing lessons, they use these then to support their learning, and then the teacher sort of assists in which colour they need, in which numbers they need to colour in. Slide nesaf. So we track then their answers. This is the breakdown from last year's for autumn, spring, summer. And then the green down the side is the blwyddyn chwech, the year 6 results for the questions. You can see with the year 6s in autumn term, only 17% of the children had 10 points or above. In spring, we were looking at 86%. By the summer, we had 97% of children answering and gaining 10 points or above. See then, that's why they highlighted in green on the left-hand side of the screen. And that's right the way through the school. There is a big impact. Like I said, we use these for everything. So we keep repeating these questions for our brawddeg of the wythnos. We repeat them in helper heddiw sessions, and then they're used during our lessons as well. Slide nesaf as well from there. So the outcome of it is that we've now got a consistent right the way across the school, that the children in year 6s can ask a reception child a question and they'll all be able to answer and talk to each other, which has really boosted the confidence of all children. We've had parents coming in saying that the children are trying to teach the 8 questions at home, which is a real big thing as well. The confidence is just grown. Yeah, and they are willing now to ask sort of unfamiliar adults. If you have adults coming in, when you're thinking about inspectors and everything, when they come in, they are happy to ask these questions in the corridors. You'll see them going pwy wyt ti, and it is lovely to hear. And then our way forward is we are hoping that these 8 questions will become the 8 questions for progression step 1, and then to be reinforced in progression step 2. And then in progression step 3, we'll have additional 8 questions, which will focus then on past tense, future tense, to develop them further. But they will obviously use these 8 questions as they are the core, and then they will be able to extend their sentences using the past tense, future tense. And this is where your things like sit my toe with heddiw will come in. Obviously, they'll do it in the helper heddiw in the infant, but then once they get to the progression step 3, they will be using the bydd hi'n, roedd hi'n, and then gwyliau. It'll all come in then during the progression step 3. But it has worked really well, and we are continuing with it this year. Yeah, it's been really good and very beneficial to the school.
Diolch yn fawr, Laura. Diolch am rhannu. I just think that those language patterns that you've selected are really high value, aren't they? They help develop, it's meaningful and it's conversational Cymraeg that they can use throughout the day in different contexts. So llongyfarchiadau, it's a really, really good approach. Has anybody got any questionau I Laura? Pawb yn dawel.
Pawb yn hapus. You explained it so clearly, Laura.
Absolutely. Diolch yn fawr. And obviously we've got the
slides there. If anyone wants anything, then we're happy to share anything if anyone does want.
And also, Laura, you go into this in a lot more detail in your Dewch I Weld session as well, don't you? So if anybody wants to come and see it in action, please come along. You can book in on the previous slide for the Dewch I Weld sessions, because Laura goes in, she spends a lot of time. You'll be able to go into the classes to see it in action, to see how the children feel about it, to see how the children manage it, and to see how the children use it, isn't it? Very good. Diolch, Laura.
Too.
Sorry, say that again.
And you can have biscuits and cakes too if you do.
Biscuits and cakes too.
The best biscuits and cakes in Glynggair.
Get booking. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Laura. Help mawr. Diolch o galon.
Iawn, Laura.
And croeso now to our next guest. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol. Wyt ti yna? Are you there, Carol?
Yes.
Carol. Fantastic. Gwych. Carol from Ysgol Gynradd Green Hill in Caerphilly. And I'll hand straight over. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol.
Diolch, Sian. And I will vouch for Laura as well, and the Dewch I Weld, because I went to see it last year and it was very, very useful, and I've adapted our assemblies based on what Laura showed us during the day. So it's really useful. Okay, so we are very limited in our area. This is about us to the amount of Welsh that children are accessing outside of school. You can see from the statistics there, we have just over 45% of children entitled to free school meals, and it was 32% of our children with ALN. That has risen quite a little bit now because we have an extra SNRB class as well. So it's just a little bit of context about our school, really. So diolch, Sian, nesa. So we just wanted to show you, Sian has asked me to just share how we are, how I'm supporting the planning really for our teachers, because we've moved over to doing Welsh a little bit differently in the last year. How I've created the curriculum overview for Welsh and our themes resource bank, and how I'm supporting teachers with accessing resources, and learn a little bit about Cyfarfod as well. Diolch, Sian. So we are still at Bronze Cymraeg campus. We achieved that just before COVID. I was not Welsh lead then, so that was with the prior lead. She achieved that with the school, and then now we're currently on a mission to try and get silver this year. We transitioned from the Antur Anhygoel packs last year, with a view to trying to use the new language continuum more to guide our planning. So we've started that. We trialled it last year, and then we will be moving forward with that this year. And we've been implementing Cyfarfod, or we're just starting to implement it across the school now. Diolch, Sian. So what I've done is to support the planning in the school. It was a bit moving away from the EAS packs. It made the learning a lot more purposeful because people were able to, be more relevant to their class themes. But it's also meant the planning is now not immediately available in the next EAS pack. So, whereas before it was much less that you didn't have to think so much, that you just turn to the next page and off you go and sort of get your resources. Obviously, that doesn't happen now with the language continuum. There's a lot more planning and thought having to be put in to where we're accessing resources from and what suits the themes of your class. So this has been, one of the bigger challenges of moving over to the language continuum. So to support the staff in locating resources and having some sort of structure, we set up a Google Drive. Obviously, this doesn't have to be on Google. It can be on whatever space you use, whether it's Teams or whatever. And then within, we've got a Cymraeg resources file, and then within that file, you can see I've got a number of different things that we put in there. So it's, if we picked up exemplar work along the way, then that might be put in there. We've got reading files, things for our mind maps, anything that we find that's useful. It's kind of organised into these files, and then we've got this file which is our themed work. So diolch, Sian, if you, slide nesa. So inside our themed work, these files are still being developed. So that the idea is not that I'm just suddenly got this wealth of resources. It was a starting point. So the files are still being developed. We set up the files, and it's kind of a working document that people keep adding to as time goes on. So we've got some files which are more general, sort of the weather or colours, things that are not necessarily topic based, but they're maybe everyday subjects that we might use. And then we've got other files then which are more related to our themes, our topics. Diolch, Sian. So the curriculum overview is another pretty hefty document that was created, but again, with the view to try and support staff in planning and sort of give ideas. So again, what I've done, and there's a really big thank you to Rhian, who I know created the document with all the book resources for the EAS and where you'd find them. So the curriculum overview was created over many weeks, and it's still changing, especially now that all our themes have changed, that I've planned all this out.
Oh,
but it's still useful because obviously I don't intend for this to disappear. This is still useful under themed work. We will just create the one that's relevant for the next year. But it is not a document that is intended to be planned from. So teachers are using the language continuum as their guide, to what they need to teach in their topic work, in their Welsh work. However, this is more of an ideas bank of, a reference guide for the focus tasks that you could possibly do under this topic, because sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So it's ideas on what we could do, and then where we can find resources that link to them. Because it doesn't matter how many times, you know, you try and say, well, these resources are there, unless it's written down and it's in one place. I think it's difficult. People haven't got time to keep searching, you know, and looking through all the packs and things all the time. So using what Rhian has already given us, and using a lot of Google Drive searches and searches through our network in school, I've kind of just put a guide to where the resources can be found, or any other resources we might have that would link to a topic or a theme that people are doing. Whether or not the teachers use those, it's up to them, but it's a bank of ideas. It's a really long task, I'm not going to lie, and it's not ever going to be complete, I don't think. It's something that's going to keep, you know, it's very fluid, it's going to change, and I'm hoping that the intention is that teachers will add to this as the years go on, and then the Google Drive that we've got, that's where they can add resources. So there's never sort of resources sitting in a teacher's file on a laptop. You know, it's all shared so that the next teacher who approaches the same topic, they can be sort of reused and adapted to what they need. So and then hopefully that's really useful for everyone overall. Diolch, Sian. Slide nesaf. So in addition, I've also created this sort of bank of resources. So this is a build-up activities PowerPoint that I created. This is not the actual PowerPoint, this is examples from it. It's more to give teachers ideas of how they can evidence what they're doing and how they can use build-up activities before they get to their main you know, written task or oracy task at the end. So there's just different ways really to approach a build-up to a main task. Some of the ideas have come from the EAS packs, some have come from shared practice or training events that we've been to, and then basically just putting them in one document. Again, it's just to try and make it easier for staff, that we go, you know, to one document, they can look through and think what suits my topic or my planning for this term. And in each build-up activity, I've put ways that we could differentiate those tasks. So again, it's not meant to be prescriptive, it's meant to be supportive. You know, teachers can go off and do their own things. This is just for those moments where you think, you know, well, how am I going to do this? They can look and they can see, well, this is one way we could differentiate, or this is one way we could have this build-up to a task. Yeah, diolch, Sian. I've got a couple of slides now which just show some of the ideas that we've got in there, some of the different tasks that's on there. I'm sure did by someone then. Getting boring. Yeah, so these are just tasks. I don't know if that came over then, but these are just tasks and ideas that probably everybody's seen before in various forms through training and EAS guides. Like I said, these are just slides that are in our pack. I think there's one more slide showing examples as well, Sian. Again, it's things that we know, but it's just there. It's a visual. It's how you can it's just sort of an easy guide for staff to be able to just dip in and out of. And I think that's the last example I've put on there, because we could have put all of them on and we would be here all day. But if anybody wants me to share those, I'm happy to share. And then the other thing we're focusing on right now is our phonics. So we were really fortunate to be one of the schools selected for Jane's Tricathlic funding back last year, beginning of last year. So our children really struggle in reading Welsh, you know, and realistically, some of them struggle in reading English as well. So, you know, we knew that Welsh was going to be very tricky, but we were trying to implement a structured approach to Welsh, and we saw this course that Jane was doing. We thought we've got to have a go. We see what this is about. And I was a bit dubious, I will, you know, admit. It was like, oh my gosh, you know, are we going to mess up the English phonics? Are they going to get confused? Is this going to be really hard? But in fact, it's worked really well. So we trialled it the last term with the year 2 class, starting at the very, very beginning, which should be in reception, but, you know, we obviously had nothing to go on. And it worked really well. And then we've moved it down to year 1. So they've joined in slightly behind where year 2 are, so that we're both moving up together. And now this year we're going to implemented across the school so that the whole school have some knowledge of the Welsh phonics and, are able to read more confidently in Welsh. We put a really big focus on the Welsh phonics for this term and trying to get, our year 6s and year 5s on board with the new sounds. Year 2 down are going to be the ones, year 3 down, sorry, are going to be the ones who are going to be focusing more on the full reading activities, whereas higher up the school, it's going to be more focusing on the sounds and just getting them sort of caught up, if you like, because they haven't had access to this in the past. But yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile scheme to take part in, and I would definitely recommend it if anybody can get on there. And as Rhian said earlier, the resources that come along with it are really, really lovely as well. So it's definitely worthwhile. Diolch, Sian. Obviously, my contact details there if anybody wants me to share anything. But I would say, realistically, you cannot create all these resources overnight. This took forever. And, I would say just if you think this would be a useful way for you to go, I would say start by just creating empty files, put titles on them, create empty files and have staff to help populate those files with what you've already got. And definitely look at Rhian's list of the books that might relate to all your topics, because it saved me an awful lot of time that I didn't have to go, searching through things because it was all there. Because otherwise I would have literally just been searching through the EAS packs probably for the rest of my life. So diolch for that. But yeah, I think it's definitely got to be a collaborative thing, set it up. And then over time, it's something that could build and would be really useful. But I'm happy to share anything or, answer any questions. My email's there. Diolch, Sian.
Oh, diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol, ardderchog, fantastic. And yeah, I don't think anybody underestimates the massive undertaking that it is to create a Google Share Drive like that under different themes. And it's having that knowledge, isn't it, of the Answer Anhygoel schemes and what planning and resources could link with what language patterns. So da iawn, it's not an overnight task. And like you said, it's something that it's a working document that will develop and staff can add to that as you go along. But it's such a really strong foundation for you to work from. So, diolch yn fawr iawn am rhannu. And it's wonderful to hear your success with the Tricachlic reading scheme hefyd, and to get some first-hand feedback of how that's working in school. So diolch yn fawr iawn, Carol. Unrhyw cwestiynau?
Can I just interrupt there? Carol mentioned the list. If anybody is looking for the list that I made, it is in the team space. It's in the PL reading folder, and all the text from the Answer Anhygoel year 3 to year 6 and the poems and the darllen cards. There's a little synopsis. It's all listed in a document, in a Word document in that folder, just to help people out if they wanted it. If anybody has any trouble, then just email me and I can send it to you.
Yeah. Fab, diolch. Off the top of my head, sorry if you just said that, it's in the files section of the team space in the planning and resources folder. So yeah, really defnyddiol, really useful. Diolch o galon. Carol's email address is there, and I believe, Laura, your email address is on your slides. If it's not, is it okay if we pop it on, Laura? Somebody, Rhian in the chat, has asked if she can have your e-bost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, no, it's okay. As long as you've got your permission, we can pop that in. Diolch yn fawr, Laura.
Oh, girls, fabulous. There's a blue tray.
Okay, diolch. Nôl I ti gyda diweddariadau Cymraeg Campus Rhian. Diolch.
Oh, diolch. Okay, I'll be very brief. I'd just like to do my updates on Cymraeg Campus. Slide gyntaf, os gwelwch yn dda, Sian.
Wrth gwrs.
So always like to celebrate in these meetings all those schools. I know exactly how much hard work it is to get your Cymraeg Campus efydd, your arian. It's a lot of time, a lot of dedication from staff, so it's always nice to celebrate. So I'd like to start by saying llongyfarchiadau first of all to all our ysgolion efydd, our bronze schools who achieved their bronze awards last term. So big shout out to Aberbargoed, Pen y Cwm, St Mary's Roman Catholic in Bryn Mawr and St Mary's Church in Wales in Bryn Mawr, Llandogo and Ringland. Da iawn chi. They're my first llongyfarchiadau. Moving on to the Arian, we've got 7 Arian schools who were so successful last term. So llongyfarchiadau mawr I Glyngair Primary, Beaufort Hill Primary, Risca Primary, Cwm Aber Infants, St Mary's Primary in Chepstow, St Joseph's Primary in Newport in Casnewydd, and Marshfield Primary also in Casnewydd. Da iawn chi. And the next slide is the first time I've been able to create this slide. This slide gives me lots and lots of extra joy because we've had our first school who went for the air. So a llongyfarchiadau enfawr I Clydda. They're leading the way. Hopefully there'll be lots of other schools now following in their footsteps and going for gold. So da iawn, llongyfarchiadau enfawr Clydda for being our first school in the EAS region to achieve their gold award. Fantastic. Okay, just a reminder, a great celebration for your Cymraeg campus to support your evidence. We've got our diwrnod Shwmae coming up. So I've just put some ideas here that you may wish to use. I'm sure lots of you are far more creative than me and have better ideas, but I have put some ideas of things that I've used in the past that have worked or that I've heard from other schools. So lovely opportunity to get your parents in, to get your local community in for those community targets, to have a coffee morning, to teach them how to say Shwmae. A really nice thing that I've seen that you can do is a cluster message. Share the Shwmae, as I like to say. If you are a Welsh cluster lead, maybe you'd like to organise a chain within your cluster so that the schools share the Shwmae onto the other schools, or you create an iMovie where everybody's saying Shwmae to each other and you share it within the cluster. Share it on Twitter. If you do put anything on Twitter, please don't forget to tag us in it because we'd love to see them and we'll share them. Shwmae photo booth, because again, it's nice to get it out into the community. Maybe at the end of the day, you can have little Shwmae props and take it out onto the yard at dismissal. So again, you're sharing it with the parents. You could be asking your crew Cymraeg or your children in your classes to design posters to advertise that is diwrnod Shwmae. And obviously, nice easy one, use it for your brawddeg or wythnos for that week, possibly. So there's just some ideas that you may wish to go. On the next slide, I've just put a link because good old Twinkle, whether you love it or hate it, Twinkle have got lots of resources on there for Shwmae as well. So I've shared that just to save people some time. Okay. The next thing wanted to go on, I wanted to let schools know about the WESP because I'm going around to lots of schools to support them, and lots of schools are not familiar with what the WESP and how it links with the Siarter Iaith Cymraeg campus. So first of all, the WESP stands for Welsh in Education Strategic Plan. I'm sure lots of you as Welsh leads are already aware of this, but if we've got any new ones, please bear with so that I can make everyone aware. So what's happened is every local authority has submitted targets in line with the 1 million Welsh speakers by 2050. Local authorities have submitted targets to support the 1 million Welsh speakers. So in a few slides' time, you'll see the targets. I've shared them with you. Termly reports then are submitted from myself to the local authorities on school engagement and progress. So we do tend to do a general termly one by myself and by Ellen on the different local authorities on how many schools have engaged and how they're progressing with Cymraeg campus. Local authorities, in addition to that, then can request any specific information about a cluster of schools, about individual schools, about all of their schools. So they're at liberty to do that anytime that they want the information. We also submit reports to the Welsh Government as well on school dates and on participation and school visits and engagement, things like that. So your school will have been given the WEG funding, the Welsh in Education grant funding to support you in your role as Welsh lead for all your responsibilities, but also to support the improvement, the continuation, the progress with your Cymraeg campus. So it's really good practice as a Welsh lead that you know how much money that you've got to do these things so that you can use it up effectively, and so that you know exactly what it's being used for. So just a little tip there if you weren't aware. Okay, diolch Sian. So I've just put on here, because hopefully it'll save you time going and finding these targets. I've just put on here the different targets, the interim targets, the 2026, although Mom has just got 2027, the targets that we've got at the moment on the way to 2032. So, and the first column you will notice where I put heddiw just shows where we are at this present moment today with our targets. So you can see, if I go to Blaenau Gwent for target E in 2026, they want all 20 of their 20 schools to have completed the bronze. They want at least 10 of their schools to have completed. So it's not currently working on, this is what they want to have completed. So they want 10 of their schools to have completed the silver, and they want 7 of their schools to have completed the gold. So this is why the local authority and why the Welsh Government then are keeping their requesting, that's why we're submitting all these reports termly. So on this slide, I've got Blaenau Gwent, Caerphilly and Monmouth. And then on the next slide, I've got Newport and Torfaen. So they're there for you to have a look at for your personal local authorities so that you know. And if you weren't aware, it might be worth just checking that your head teacher is also aware of these targets so that you know the importance that needs to be given to Cymraeg campus. Okay, diolch. Next slide.
Fantastic. And it's also really useful or helpful, hopefully, for those of you that are cluster leads to see which schools within your cluster fall into those different categories. So diolch Rhian, gwaith
if any cluster leads needs any more information or need any help with these WESP targets, or if any Welsh leads, if anybody needs any help with these, please feel free to message me, email me at any time, and I will help you further with this. Because I like statistics. I'm a bit of, you know, I enjoy looking these things up. So yeah, if anybody needs anything, I can help you with that. Diolch Sian. Next slide. So this is my plea now. This is what I want to focus on, giving my support going forward for this year. So have you been on your latest award for the last few years and need support towards verification? Have you been on the silver? Were you one of our first schools to get the EVID, and then you've just got onto the silver, and then COVID happened and you've just remained on the silver since 2018, 2019? Or if Cymraeg Campus is on your SDP, or if you need support to meet those WESP targets and the criteria, if you answer yes to any of those questions, then please get in touch and we can meet and we can go through and we can see where we need to go to get you towards verification. Diolch. I've just included this slide now because this is the most up-to-date. I've put this slide in previous presentations, but this is the most up-to-date overview of what happens, what is needed on each level, on the EVID, the Arian and the AIR. I won't go through each one with you. It's there for you to read so that you know the process. And as always, any questions, please drop me an email. Diolch. I've also left this in because if there are any schools that are thinking of going for verification this term or next term, I put this together because this has just got the frequently asked questions and the answers in there about the questionnaires, about the self-evaluations and so on. So that's there to help you as well. Diolch. Some exciting news, cyffrous iawn. You said, we had lots of feedback, you said that you wanted characters with Seren and Spark that reflect our schools and our learners in our schools, and the Welsh Government listened and they have now created additional characters to support Seren and Spark. So I'm introducing Taran, Storm and Lloer. They are the new characters now, the new Welsh language heroes that will be working with Seren and Spark in all the Welsh Government documentation going forward. I have popped in the team space in the Cymraeg Campus folder. We've got lots of images, so there's this Word document with all the images that the Welsh Government have passed on to me. They're all in that document should you wish to use them for anything in the future. It should be nice to see them. Oh, just a little side note as well. We still have, if we've got any new Welsh leads joining us today, we have got our Seren and Spark costumes, which are free for schools to borrow at any time. They're currently in the health spa. They're having a bit of a break at the moment. They're having oxygen tanks and all sorts going on. So they're out of service for this week. They have been booked now for when they come back next week for a few schools in September, but the calendar is up and running, so if anybody does want to borrow the costumes, they will be ready and fresh and rearing to go for your schools.
Oh, bechog.
Diolch yn fawr,
Rhian. And yes, wow, look at that for timing. 4 munud I fynd.
Perffaith.
That brings us to the end of our cyfarfod rhwydwaith tymor yr Hydref, y bore yma. If you didn't have opportunity to register your attendance at the beginning, could you please do that now or when you watch this presentation back? And diolch yn fawr iawn for your attendance this morning. And to our special guests, Laura and Carol, diolchgar iawn, really grateful for your input, really diddorol, and diolch am rhannu, it's always much appreciated. I've already popped these slides in the team space, and the recording, I will pop a note in the team once that is barod. So diolch yn fawr iawn. Our next cyfarfod is online on the 16th of mis Ionawr, January, for our spring term meeting. And I will pop the link to that meeting again in the team space prior to that meeting, because as you know, things get lost. So don't worry if you can't find it. It will be in there a couple of days before the meeting. And as always, croeso for anyone to stay on if you've got any questions or would like to discuss anything one-to-one. Other than that, diolch yn fawr iawn. Have a wonderful day and hope you all get to enjoy some of this tywydd bendigedig hefyd in amongst gweithio'n galed, in amongst all the hard work. So diolch yn fawr iawn bawb, and we will look forward to seeing you all very soon. Hwyl am y tro. Bye for now.
Hwyl am y tro.